We are.
Here we
Hey,
are.
back again.
We all made it safely.
Whew, boy,
Yeah,
what a
that was a jump.
Hello, hello.
Hi. And you're gonna push us to Facebook Live, right, Macy?
Yes, so just so everybody, all of you attendees that are rolling in know, we are going to push this out to Facebook Live. You are all in listen only mode, so your faces will not be seen, your voices won't be blasted out onto Facebook or anything. It'll just be the panelists here that are speaking. So we are going to get started here in just one second. Gonna let some more people kind of roll in here, but it's good to see so many people joining. This is very exciting.
We have 48 participants on the Zoom already.
We're at 48 right now. We're looking good.
Is work hanging right? Work is hanging right now. Is that correct?
It is actually not hanging yet. Because of COVID, we are spacing out our drop-offs a little bit more. So the artists are dropping off. They started this week and they have until next week, and we're going to hang all of it next Saturday, which is
awesome.
when tours will be able to begin. So that's very exciting.
Sounds like a great decision. Sounds like a good decision
Yeah,
there.
it's funny. Usually we'll have, over 100 artists coming in a 2-day period to pick up and drop off. So it's been an adjustment for sure, but we're making it work and we're excited to be doing that. So, well, okay. I see many people are joining us. If you would, we would love to hear where everybody is joining from. Everybody is able to chat in the chat box at the bottom of your screen. Please pop in the chat. Let us know where you're tuning in from. We would love to hear where everybody's coming from today. So as you all know, we are here celebrating the 12th annual Visions of the Flint Hills Art Exhibition, which is a benefit for Friends of Konza Prairie. We at Buttonwood Art Space are very excited to host this exhibition for the 12th year. For those of you who don't know who Buttonwood is, I'll give a little bit of brief background on that. We are primarily a financial firm, which sounds a little odd if you don't know the background of us. So you might be thinking, well, how does a financial firm do an art exhibition for 12 years? We serve in the capacity of family CFO for our clients as a fully comprehensive wealth management firm. Our building is in Union Hill in Kansas City, Missouri, and way back in the 70s used to be known as Union Hill Arts. So our president, John McGraw, who I think is tuning in or should be shortly, wanted to preserve some of that history and find a way to support local and regional artists while also fulfilling his passion of philanthropy. So what he did was turned our building into Buttonwood Art Space. So our financial office is also a community-focused art gallery. So we host about 4 to 5 different art exhibitions every year. Each one of those benefits a different nonprofit organization. 50% of proceeds go to the artists for their work and 50% go to the nonprofit organization. Because this is our financial firm's office, we don't need a commission, so we're able to redirect those dollars to the nonprofit organizations that we get to partner with. Friends of Konza Prairie is one that we do every year and are always very proud and very happy to support. Throughout today's event, we'll be here until 5 o'clock. I encourage all of you to visit our website, buttonwoodartspace.com, and visit the Visions of the Flint Hills show, where you can view all of the works that are online. Right now, today, you can only see them online, but starting October 12th, you will be able to schedule an in-person tour and actually come to the gallery and see the works that are here. Not every single work online is here just because of COVID, and we are trying to be conscious of the artist needs and keeping everybody safe. So I will do a thorough walkthrough of how to purchase artworks later on in our event today, but feel free to go ahead and browse, pick out your favorites. You can click buy and click your little shopping cart, but again, I'll go through that in more detail later. And for now, I'm going to hand this off to Kelly Yarbrough Frazier, who is with Friends of Konza Prairie. She has been my right-hand man on pulling all of this stuff together. It's been so much fun. So Kelly, we'll leave it off to you.
All right, thanks, Macy. Hi, everyone. I'm Kelly Yarborough. Thanks so much for joining us today. Yeah, this is really exciting to see folks logging on here. I am serving as the current president of Friends of Konza Prairie, but I also started helping out to organize the Visions of the Flint Hills show last year. I'm also an artist myself, so this is where some passions of mine collide. So I'm very happy to be able to serve in this capacity. Just a little background. So Friends of Konza Prairie is a group that supports the mission of the Konza Prairie. It's a threefold mission of research, conservation, and education. One of the best ways that we support Konza's mission, though, is by raising funds for the Konza Environmental Education Program, which is a really unique education program that we have on site for school-age kids. And the director of that program, Jill Hocus, will talk more about that program in depth later in the hour. But you should know that if you buy artwork from the Visions of the Flint Hills show, not only are you supporting regional artists, you are also supporting environmental education that happens on site in an engaging way through the Konza Prairie. So we're very pleased that we get to work with Macy and Buttonwood Art Space on this show. So excited to do this. And also I will say that even though this year is looking quite different than it has in the past, and we do miss having our in-person reception there for First Friday and all that energy, I will say that I think it's really great that we're able to offer this show in an online format and connect with people far and wide across time and space. And we rarely get the opportunity during that exciting First Friday reception to actually communicate with people what Konza is about. You know, there's just so much going on. So I really am actually hopeful that this is going to be a really good format to kind of convey a little bit more about what Konza is and the work that goes on there and what you're supporting when you buy artwork through the show. So thanks for being here. I do want to take a couple of minutes really quickly to acknowledge some of our sponsors for this year's show. We have a few sponsors that have really been with us for a number of years now, so we really want to give a heartfelt thanks to their continued support. The Trust Company in Manhattan has been with us for a long time. They do a lot of good work in the community. Thank you. Burnett Automotive in Manhattan as well has been a sponsor. Native Lands LLC in Lawrence, Kansas by Courtney Masterson. She's done a lot of work with Konza, so we thank you. WTC in Manhattan has also been a supporter for the past couple of years. Thank you. Flint Hills Discovery Center Foundation has also been supporting us. And the director of the Discovery Center, Susan Adams, was our honorary chair last year. And so they've been kind of an ongoing partner and ally in the education work and supporting this show. And then also we want to give out a shout out to Lady Bird Diner in Lawrence. If you saw some of the messages we sent out earlier, you will know that Lady Bird Diner actually provided us with a really fun cocktail recipe that we decided to call the Konza Sunset. And so I hope everyone got to see that and have prepared their beverages. We'll do a toast later on in the evening, but that is a very tasty cocktail. And Lady Bird Diner has actually been doing some really amazing community work in Lawrence recently this year. They had to shut down, but they've been doing some meal preps for their community. And they've actually put together a book of collected stories called Lady Bird Collected that is coming out shortly, which you can pre-order on their website. So they're doing lots of good stuff too. We are so pleased to have so many amazing community partners in this project. And I'll pop in later here throughout the hour to do some more things and talk at you some more. But I'm going to wrap it up for now, and I'm going to invite Patty Reese to speak for a few minutes. Patty is our honorary chair this year, which if you've attended the Visions of the Flint Hills reception in the past, you'll know that honorary chair usually means something different than it is this year. But we're so thrilled that Patty is joining us today because she's been an excellent partner to the Flint Hills and does some really amazing work in the region. So Patty, would you like to introduce yourself and speak a little bit about what you do?
Well, sure. And first of all, I'm really glad that everybody has tuned in to this virtual reception. It's kind of a whole new world and a new normal, and I think we're all adjusting really well and learning that we can reach even further than we can in person, as Kelly said. And Kelly, I think we all owe you and Aaron and Macy and John a big shout out for putting this all together and making sure that it did happen again. And I also want to say thank you so much to all of the artists who really make this happen. We appreciate their generosity and their talent. And I had a chance to look online at the exhibit last night and thoroughly enjoyed it. And it's so energizing to see how this sense of place, which is the Flint Hills, is interpreted by so many different personalities and so many different talents. And I encourage you to just thoroughly enjoy going online and looking at all of the artwork. You know, I think that art and nature are probably more important now than they have been in our memory. I think that nature gives us a chance to get out of our houses when that's kind of difficult in these COVID days and really reconnect to nature and reconnect to those deep feelings that we feel and that solemnity and that peace and the kindness that we find in nature. And there's nothing really to compare with that. I think that art is so important. Artists have always been thought leaders. They've always been creative problem solvers. They're really important to our humanity. And I think that I think both of them deserve our support. And Kelly has asked me to talk a little bit about what we do at the Volun Store. It's an interesting story. My husband and I, and I'll try to be short. I forgot I didn't really intend to say this part, but anyway, about 20 years ago, my husband and I bought a second place in the Flint Hills, and we had always loved the Flint Hills, and it was really a dream come true. And very early on, we discovered an old brick building that had been a store, and we learned the history of it a little bit, just because there were people in the community who still remembered it from when they were children. Eventually, the building became, it wasn't really for sale, but they were going to tear it down, and they were looking for somebody to buy it. So of course we bought it, and then we looked inside, which it was kind of a disaster. But we thought it was really important that it not melt into the landscape because it held so many memories and so much history of the community. So we restored it and we reopened it in June of 2015 as a place for art and community. It was always intended to be a place where the community would gather and where people from near and far would come to have conversations and exchange ideas and have a way to get into the Flint Hills that they might not otherwise have. So since that time, or since the beginning, our goal was to present and to bring into the Flint Hills really high quality art and interesting programming that would resonate with our audience. And it's been very gratifying to see people come there and just thoroughly enjoy it and really connect to the Flint Hills. From the very first artists that we had, we could see how artists actually connected to the landscape and to the rural culture. And so the next phase of our development is to establish a residency program where we can give creative practitioners from all kinds of disciplines, time and space to congregate, to create, and to spend time in the Flint Hills. We're hoping that by next summer that will be kicking off, but in the meantime, we are offering artist retreats at a couple of places that we have at the Volun Store. They're fee-based and they're very reasonable. And there's specifically for people who want to come and spend some time there. So again, I'm all about nature and art. I think they both deserve your support, and I encourage you to shop early and shop often Enjoy. And now I'd like to hand it off to Jill Hokus, a woman that I don't know well, but I admire her from afar because I know she does excellent work at the Konza Prairie. So Jill?
Thank you, Patty. Thank you,
Sure.
Patty.
Mhm.
My part of the show is to introduce you to the program that I run at Konza Prairie Biological Station. I'm in charge of the environmental education program, the Konza Environmental Education Program, and I've got a PowerPoint that I'd like to share with you. And I need the host to enable me to share. Because it's giving me a,
You should
there
be
we
good.
go. Excellent, now we're good. So our mission here is to bring area school children to the prairie, to learn, to experience, to connect, playing into some of the things that Patty was saying about how artists get to come to the prairie to connect. That's very much what we're doing with my program, to bring area, Flint Hills, it goes as far east as Kansas City, our program does, and as far west as Salina. So it's more than just Flint Hills children, it's eastern Kansas children to the prairie, because many of them have not connected to the prairie. And this gives them a chance to learn, experience, and hopefully to connect. So there's a threefold mission to the Konza Prairie Biological Station, which, if you're not familiar with this area, it is an 8,600 acre site just south of Manhattan, Kansas. It's between the I-70 interstate and Manhattan, Kansas. And it's an area of tall grass prairie, the vast majority of which has never been plowed. And so it's our job to bring children out there to see this area. But the station itself has a threefold mission: for research, because there really is no other place in the world where researchers or scientists can do study of the tall grass prairie, of an intact tall grass prairie. Conservation, so it's our job to keep the prairie healthy and conserved. And then education. And the education can take the part of K through 12, but we also have the KSU students, and we have graduate students. So it's a pretty broad net of education that we do. And we also do teacher professional development, and I'll hit on that. So one of the basic things that we do with my program is we guide hikes. School groups will come out, and we will give a group of 10 kids a experienced docent. And so we have to first identify what a docent is, because a lot of kids don't know what that is. So it's a guide who treats the prairie like a museum. And so you see docents in a fine art museum. Well, you see docents out here on the prairie. And with their wealth of knowledge and experience, they share this with the kids, and they point out things that the kids may not have ever seen before. We have the whole gamut of ages from kindergarten up to 12th grade. And here they are going out on a field trip in May, experiencing maybe wild mushrooms for the first time. This is in March. We also have the opportunity for kids to do science, to do hands-on collection of data. One of the activities that we have available is stream chemistry, where they get down to the stream and measure the oxygen level, the pH, temperature, and they collect the data. And then they can also collect macroinvertebrates. So, we have to define what that is. These are basically the invertebrate organisms, like the little bugs that live in the creek. and there's going to be different kinds of organisms depending on the water quality. So the better the water quality, the better the macroinvertebrates. And they get to bring those back to lab and look at them and identify them and count them and turn them in. We'll talk about that in a second. Another hands-on scientific activity that kids can do at Konza is collecting grasshoppers. So here, on a day very much like today, going out with their partners and collecting grasshoppers on the prairie, and then bringing them back to the lab to identify them and to count them. And the data isn't discarded. The data is actually important. We keep it. And all of that data is put into a specific website. We have a brand new website just for kid data called Science on the Prairie. And this is what some of their data looks like. So we have two different teachers here represented from 2018 and what they caught. And then what kids can do, any kids, it doesn't matter if it's kids in Kansas or kids in Russia or kids in England, they can then take a look at that data and they can make graphs out of it, they can make charts, they can study it themselves. We also do teacher professional development in the summer, where the teachers come out and spend a week of full immersion. We take them on hikes, we take them down to the creek, we take them out catching grasshoppers. And by the end of that week, they have a really clear understanding of what kind of activities they can then formulate for their kids when they bring their kids out. So one of the perks of going through that workshop is that those teachers are then qualified for bringing their students to do the hands-on science activities. And we also, through local government grants, are able to pay for their transportation. So the buses, they have a stipend for the school bus transportation. Okay. So all of this happens with the help of volunteer docents. So every year we have a new group of adult volunteer docents from around the area who, again, very much, they offer their time, their energy, their experience, their know-how, and they go through 2 weeks of pretty intense training. So here's on the left, they're learning about geology, and on the right, they're learning about the bison. And at the end of all that, they are then able to lead groups themselves. But we wouldn't be able to do any of this without the financial support of the Friends of Konza Prairie, which is what this Visions of the Flint Hills show is sponsoring. With financial support from the Friends of Konza Prairie, we're able to do the things that we can do out here. And so with that help, we are able to get between 2,500 to 3,000 kids every year to the prairie to learn, to experience, and to connect. And I'm going to hand it over to Kelly.
Thanks for sharing that, Jill. It's always exciting to me to hear you talk about the KEEP program, and it's Konza itself is such a special place, and it serves a number of different functions really well. The KEEP program is such a special program, and I think the ecosystem, if you will, that Jill kind of manages here amongst the people players is really special. You know, she's so this whole system kind of serves itself a little bit. She's got the volunteer docents that get trained, and I got to do the training as a docent a few years ago. So you get to learn all this awesome knowledge about the native landscape that you're in, and then you get to serve after that by leading these field trips from the region. So you're giving kids this new hands-on experience, which, you know, kids depending on the age and the group and everything, their attention span may be not so long, but getting them out there to experience and be hands-on is how you spark that love of learning and really get them to value and understand the landscape. So I think that is so huge, because then they go on to be educated, and they get to be leaders, and they get to understand why this place is worth preserving. And so there's this cool cycle, I think, in that community that I'm just so thrilled that Friends of Konza Prairie gets to support. So thanks for the work that you do there, Jill.
Thank you, Kelly.
Yeah. Well, at this point in the afternoon, I would like to take the opportunity to offer a little toast. So if you happen to have your Ladybird beverage handy, I forgot to do the pretty garnishes on mine. So I wish mine looked a little more presentable. If Meg at Ladybird Diner was actually preparing this cocktail, I'm sure it would look 10 times as good. But if you happen to have a beverage nearby, I debated what to do with this toast. I wanted to say something special. And so therefore, I'm going to attempt to read some poetry. I hope everyone will bear with me here. But I reached out to my friend and poet, Lawrence-based poet, Megan Kaminsky, who's a contemporary poet and author, whose work I just love. It's very, she's very plugged in with the local landscape. And so I'm going to attempt to read a short poem of hers from a current book project she's working on called Withness. This poem is called Where We Are Situated. So, as a toast. High in the tree canopy, wind pushes branch into branch, a scrambling of touch, one limb becoming another, the morning gray and bright, sun pushing through cloud, cars abating as the commute softens into mid-morning, blackbirds in the gnarled black locust, doves on rooftop, squirrels chattering on and on. Picture, a mammoth rubbing hide on bark, the sharp prick of thorns emerging as buffer. Picture, seas and glaciers that once covered this place. Picture, limestone erupting, bison grazing, tall grass. Picture, prairie grass, pink orchid, wood betony, large flowered coreopsis, prairie phlox, funnel form beard tongue, pale purple coneflower, lead plant, prairie blazing star, rattlesnake master, hoary cocoon, yellow wild indigo, and azure aster, all flowering to open, my hands breaking to blossom, the fields, the grasses, the fields. To the Flint Hills and Konza Prairie, cheers.
Cheers.
Woo, that's good.
And
Now I would like to hand it over to Macy. If you would give us a walkthrough on how we can purchase artwork.
Absolutely. Well, first I have to say, Kelly, that was a beautiful reading. I loved that. You should definitely do that as a side gig. That was beautifully done. I really enjoyed that poem. Thank you so much for that. So I'm going to share my screen with you all now, just to give everybody a quick little walkthrough of how you can purchase artwork online. So step number one is going to be buttonwoodartspace.com. And here I also want to point out that this link right here that says schedule your tour here is where you will click to actually schedule your in-person tour. We do ask that those tours are a maximum of 4 people at a time. Face masks or face coverings are required, and these are scheduled in 1-hour increments with some spacing in between to give us enough time in between tour guests to disinfect and just make sure that we're keeping everybody safe. But back to the art. So again, visit buttonwoodartspace.com to see all of the wonderful artwork in the Visions of the Flint Hills show. You can get to the Visions of the Flint Hills show 2 ways. You can either scroll down here and simply click on the piece of artwork that is featured right here, or you can start at the top at shows, and you can select the first show, which is Visions of the Flint Hills. So just click on this graphic here, which will open up the Flint Hills show. Again, you can click right here to schedule your tour to come in and see the artwork in person. And this is actually a full view of all of the artwork that is featured in this exhibition. I'm going to do a really quick view here. Try not to get dizzy. And I just want to point out that we have in this exhibition 120 different artists and 175 different pieces of artwork. And just as a quick reminder, 50% of every purchase goes directly to the artist, and the remaining 50% goes to Friends of Konza Prairie. So it's really a win-win. You support your local and regional artist, you support a great cause that you guys all care about, and you can also get a tax deduction because 50% of your purchase is a charitable contribution. So in order to purchase, the way that you can navigate, if there's a specific artist that you're really looking for, these are in order alphabetically by artist last name. So we're going to start here with Kathleen Anderson. You'll see whenever I hover over that it's got her name, the size, the medium, and the price. This one actually did sell, so you can't get this one. If you're interested in looking at any piece on a larger scale, simply click on it and it will pull it up. Click the X to get out of it, or just click somewhere in the empty area. So I'm just going to do a quick little trial. Let's say that I want to purchase a piece by Jill Hocus because her artwork is just lovely. So I would scroll down a little bit. This is a little easier for me because I know the pieces a little bit more. And you can kind of stop in the middle and hover over and see where you're at. Jill, I think you're more, where are you? I thought it was easier for me. There you are. So I really like this piece, Dreaming of Summer Fire by Jill Hocus. It's 11 by 8 inches. It's a photograph and a great price at $120. So let's say I want to purchase this piece. I'm going to click this button right here that says buy. And what that's going to do is it's going to take me directly to Jill's profile just so that I can see all of her other really great artwork. And in the upper right-hand corner, you're going to see this little shopping cart. That's going to have the piece that I want to purchase, but maybe I'm not done yet. I still want to get another piece of artwork. And you know whose work I really like? I really like Kelly Yarbrough's work. She is going to be at the bottom because of her last name. So I'm going to scroll all the way down. This is a wonderful piece. And I'm going to buy this one as well, a 12 by 12. And then this will also take me to her profile so I can see all of her other great artwork. And here I'm done. So I'm ready to check out and I'm going to proceed to checkout. Here's where I will enter all of my information, my email, name, all of that fun stuff. I'll click save and continue, and then the next page is where you can enter credit card information. Once you have finished checking out, you will automatically get an emailed receipt of your purchase, and I will contact you specifically to just let you know that, hey, we've received it, here's the pickup date. We typically do have the artwork in person hanging in the show until it starts to come down, which would be later in November. Of course, things are a little bit different in today's world. So if anybody is really itching to get a piece or you're wanting to purchase one for somebody's birthday next week or sooner, we can certainly accommodate that. So as a reminder, buttonwoodartspace.com, click on shows, Visions of the Flint Hills, and each one of these pieces is alphabetized by artist last name. I just encourage you, though, honestly, to just start with Kathleen Anderson and just start scrolling and check all of these out. You can either click this arrow here or use your keyboard. One other couple of pieces, just because, Lisa, we have you here as a panelist, I definitely want to make sure that we point out Lisa's artwork, and we'll probably do this again later, but Lisa was one of our jurors a couple of years ago, and she has been involved ever since, and these works are here, and I definitely encourage you to come see them. Jill's works are here as well as Kelly's, and so many other artists. I mean, truly, if you can get here and come and see these works in person, I truly encourage that you do. It is well worth the time. And with that, now that you know how to buy, I hope you will go and make all of the wonderful purchases because this show is going quick. We've already had 13 pieces sell and today is the first day. So if you're kind of thinking about one, I would recommend going ahead and getting in there and getting those pieces secured.
Hey, Macy, can I just give a quick shout out before we move on in the schedule that Macy's actually helped us organize some virtual events to feature a couple of artists while the show is up. Were you going to talk about that? Sorry.
No, you're good. Oh my gosh, we're just rolling with it.
Yeah. Do you want to share anything about those? That's a new
Yeah.
thing that we're trying this year. So.
Yeah, so with it being virtual, of course, that changes things a little bit, because if you haven't been to one of our first Friday openings, especially for this show, we will pull in 300 to 500 people throughout an evening, and it's busy. It's shoulder to shoulder, which obviously we cannot do right now. So in an attempt to keep people excited and keep people engaged with this really great show, they get better every year, we are doing some featured artist segments. So we have 6 different artists that are actually featured. We did one that is on our Facebook, Buttonwood Art Space. That was an artist talk with Susan Rose, who does have a piece in the show. She's awesome. She's all about the Flint Hills. She lives in the Flint Hills and breathes it. It's really great. We also have one on our Facebook from Liz Vargas. She did a live paint of a sunflower field that is just, it's so worth watching. And we've got several others that are coming up. Karen Steen is one that's going to be really fun. She does these paper cuts that are super cool, and we'll talk a little bit more about that later. But I would encourage you to keep an eye out on our Facebook page, Buttonwood Art Space. I will also send out emails. If anybody's interested in joining our email list, please let me know, and I would be more than happy to add you to our list. My email is macy@buttonwoodartspace.com.
And we'll share those, Macy. We'll share those on the Konza Prairie Nature Trail Facebook site as well.
That's
so
fantastic.
Shared.
Yes, that is great. Well, with that, if anybody has questions on how to purchase, please don't hesitate to let me know. But I am going to hand it off to one of our really awesome, dedicated artists, and she is another one of those great people that is just immersed in the Flint Hills. So Lisa Grossman, welcome. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. Thanks for the invitation, Kelly and Macy and everyone else. It's an honor to be invited to talk about the prairie, and I could talk about it for a very long time. So Kelly or Macy, give me the 2-minute warning if I ramble on. I'll try to watch my clock here, but well, yeah, during the show a couple years ago was my first experience doing that, and it is not easy. I'll say there were so many pieces, and you just have to look at them all at least 3 times, and right, Erin? And so it was fun. Thank you for that opportunity, and I hope it sounds like it's going to be a very successful event. So I hope so, because I love the Konza Prairie. Backing up a little bit, my first encounter with the Flint Hills was, I moved to Kansas City from Pennsylvania in 1988, and I wondered where the prairie was. And I asked my friends, that I worked at Hallmark at the time, that's why I came to Kansas City, and they said, oh, you have to get out to the Flint Hills. And like, where's that? And I didn't have a car. I didn't have any way to get out there. And so that fall, I managed to, a friend took me to a game at K-State. And I don't remember much about that day at all, but I remember coming into the prairie on I-70. You know that moment when you come into the Flint Hills, and it was October, and it was the pink orange grasses, and I was overwhelmed, and I was such a nerd. I was taking pictures out the window of the car as we were flying down the highway, and it just bowled me over, and I'm like, this is it. That's what I'm talking about. And I still get that excited every time I come out into the Flint Hills, and obviously it's been the focus of my work now ever since, really, that and the Kansas River coming through the prairie. So you asked me to talk about painting in the prairie. I will say, let's see, Konza Prairie, I started painting there about 1998. I had a photographer friend, Jim Nadreski, who said I should go out and talk to those people, and it's been a super relationship ever since, and I'm so happy to be able to work on the Konza Prairie. And like I said earlier, get to mingle with scientists and researchers and educators, and I've learned so much just being there. But I've learned a lot just through the process, the creative process of engaging deeply with the prairie, sitting there. Anyone who engages in these creative endeavors, you realize it really focuses your senses. That, at least for me, I experience this sort of heightened awareness when I finally get quiet, settle down, and start, for me, painting, creatively engaging in that place. And I work best alone, so I'm always like sitting out on the prairie by myself. I love it. I love being able to see, you know, 4 miles down the road, I can see if anyone's coming, and I can see weather coming, tomorrow's weather coming. And so I just wanted to mention some of the gifts of the prairie to me as I've experienced them. And one of them is this sense of planet. I know that sounds kind of bold, but the prairie is not as flat as the ocean, of course. You can't exactly see the curve of the horizon, but you can feel it, and you definitely can see it in clouds. When there's a, front coming in, the leading edge of the front, this long straight cloud that might be hundreds of miles long, you can definitely see that gentle arc that is the cloud in the thin veil of atmosphere hugging our planet that conforms to that shape. And you can definitely see the curve of the planet in the clouds. I see it all the time. And other senses of planet, of course, the cycles and seasons. You see 360 degrees around. You see so much. You see the whole dome of the sky, and you can feel the earth turning. And one of the experiences I had specifically on the Konza of the sense of planet was I was painting at twilight. I usually paint in the evening, late afternoon, evening, and I was looking east at sunset, and this blue, you've seen this gorgeous blue line kind of coming up as the sun is setting in the west. And that is the earth shadow. It literally is the shadow of the earth cast upon the atmosphere. And so I was out there painting this gorgeous blue line, and then this pink, it's almost like a pale spectrum at twilight. And I remembered seeing it in this book that I had. I didn't realize what it was until I didn't remember what it was until I was engrossed in that act of painting it. And it was one of those aha moments. And I found my book right here, Color and Light in Nature. And so I remembered seeing this earth shadow. This is a picture of the earth shadow on the Konza Prairie. And I've done hundreds of paintings of it since, but the point is that I didn't realize that's what I was seeing, or I didn't remember it until I was there, using all my senses and just experiencing it, and just feeling that discovery process that is inherent in painting anyway. But yeah, am I getting close to my time? Am I over it?
No, you're okay. We are gonna switch over to our judge here in just a second, but please do continue.
I will wrap it up. Thank you. And I hope you all get to experience those kinds of things out on the prairie and the Konza Prairie. And again, thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Lisa. That was so great. And again, I encourage everybody to come in and see these works in person. They are absolutely outstanding, as is the entire exhibition. So now, the moment that you've all been waiting for, we are going to hear the winners of this year's exhibition from our judge, Erin Wiersma.
Thank you, Macy. Thank you, everyone. It's so wonderful to hear and be in community, even if it's over Zoom. I want to start by thanking the generous artists participating in this exhibition fundraiser and Buttonwood Art Space for hosting Vision of the Flint Hill Art Exhibition. This benefit holds a lot of meaning to me, not only as an art professor at K-State, but as an artist. Art is by far one of the most common ways that we have traditionally connected to the world around us. It often draws from our immediate surroundings as we attempt to find ways to express our connection to the larger whole. In the case of this exhibition, that can be seen throughout the reflection of the land as expressed in the artwork here at Buttonwood. Created within the Flint Hills, this work pulls from the rich past and present of the tall grass prairie. As the Flint Hills is the largest remaining tall grass prairie left in North America, it has significance in both science and arts. The prairie is a dynamic system, one in which periodic fires, grazing, and ever-changing climate are all components in its continuing existence. Sorry, I'm a little hoarse from teaching this week. In my own work, I found new life in the prairie by examining this life cycle and allowing it to inform my imagery. By working within the environment, I find myself responding to the changing seasons, textures, condition of the prairie, while at the same time taking parts in that maintenance as part of the fire crew at Konza. It is this process that connects us to the past, the history of the prairie, and the native practice that helps preserve the land as seen through the people and the wildlife that have called this place home. As we continue these processes, we bring that act of preservation into the present. Much like the sciences are concerned with understanding and preserving this endangered landscape throughout the active role of conservation and study, the arts engage through their own study of the land, meditating, sitting, pondering these simple acts, creating a space that brings us to the land. Through their roles, though their roles are different, the values of the land to both art and science is undeniable, as it is a role that plays in our everyday life. It is this role that is expressed here today, the conversation had between the people and the environment. It's what connects us to the desire of science that seeks to preserve, for without them, we couldn't experience the majesty of this land that continues to inspire us. As you virtually view this exhibition, take a moment to think about the untold stories behind each piece, the personal histories that connect us to the larger ones, which lie deep in the soil of the Flint Hills. Each of you have played a part in this story. This work intimately connects you to the rich traditions of art made in this land, expresses your passion, and artfully showcases your talents to our community. I selected work that evokes different voices of the prairie itself, the light, grasses, flora and fauna, and wildlife, just to name a few. I found that through drawing, painting, and photography, it often spoke to the vastness of the land, while other works created new compositions from the natural world. In the broad range of media demonstrated here, the expressive quality of each artist truly finds their voice, whether revealing the unseen moment in the sunlight or capturing the fog, if it were a veil delicately spread across the morning dew. It has been my pleasure to view all of your work and be part of bringing it to public. Thank you all for your participation and for the visions of the Flint Hills you've chosen to share with all of us in this exhibition. Thank you. Okay. Awards, they are very difficult, and selecting work. I can't tell you how many times I went through the list, just like Lisa said. It changed radically by probably what I had for breakfast that morning. I swear it probably is a little bit like that. It's like, oh no, this one instead of that one. So thank you. I also struggled quite a bit, as Kelly and Macy know, that my list was much longer than it needed to be, that the walls would hold. And so with the awards, the same rings true. I had a much grander list of awards to give. I think I started making up some awards. Thank you. Macy, are you ready for me?
I am ready, and I do want to mention before we get started here, so first place in each category receives a $100 prize, and best of show receives a $500 prize. So keep in mind there actually is some monetary awards that will be handed with this. So yes, Erin, I am ready when you are.
Awesome. Well, I just start with the, and I can't see your screen, Macy.
I'll let you announce it first, and then I will share it.
Okay, awesome. So for the 3D award, I'd like to start there with Alan Tolkeson. His work, Best in Font Dissolution. And there's 2 images he offered. Be sure to check out now and then later this stunning piece. Alan is actually his medium is Konza, the Flint Hills, literally. He uses a limestone of the land itself, and in his work he creates these meditative-like forms. To me, are like spiritual vessels. Nice. Awesome.
Congratulations, Alan.
Okay. How about the painting award? Okay. So the painting award goes to Armin Musam. And Macy would be,
that is so great.
yeah. And I selected composition 10 when it was time to submit the form, but also love the other pieces that he's offering. Each and every one of them beautifully painting and offering the landscape. Here we have fewer hills, but in other images you'll see that the hills start to emerge even more so. And I love how the work allows a place for me to question my part, our part in the landscape, and how we modify and exist. And also for the painting award, I have Lisa Grossman, End of Winter. And I love this piece right here, that little tiny bit, and Lisa, correct me, is that pink? On my screen, it looks like a pink sliver just hovering above those Flint Hills. To me, it really does feel like that end of winter, and that expanse feel, and that anticipation for the burnings to begin and for the grasses to return in all their glory. Thank you, Lisa.
Thank you so much.
This is truly a wonderful piece. It's here in our gallery right now, and I think I spent a solid 10 minutes just staring at it whenever I saw that it was here. It's worth coming in.
Oh, you're too kind.
I love the other 2 pieces you have as well, so be sure to take a look at all of Lisa's work that she has here today. Great. Let's move on to the photography award, and then to all the photography awards, including honorable mentions. So Scott Bean's Prairie Evening.
This is Scott Bean has some really awesome stuff. We sell his work every year. His photographs are really large, but not too large, right? They're just beautifully done. He is so talented. So well done, Aaron. Good choice.
Yeah. I don't know exactly where this image was taken, but I know that I know that moment, right? I remember the light. The image is taken so well. It's as if I was there on that day, right? And it pulls me back into that experiment, that moment of experiencing the prairie firsthand. Absolutely love that. Thank you, Scott. And also with the photography awards, I have one for Barb Van Schleich, Big Blue Stem. Oh, take a look at all of Scott's work. He has several other pieces in the show. Love this work right here, how we're getting almost like a view that we normally, it's a lower view on the prairie, and the sky and the ground start to collide and overlap. It speaks to me more of a drawing, an expressive drawing. And so I just absolutely love the line that is created in the landscape itself, that horizon line. Thanks.
Nice.
Thank you. And the next award to Ken Stafford. And my question for him would be, how close were you to these bison? Right? I absolutely love this viewpoint. The image is very well composed. And I love as if he just slipped up on those beautiful animals respectfully in their space while still able to document them. Really a stunning work. Absolutely, thank you. And I think he has a couple other pieces, and I believe they've already sold.
They have.
This one is still available.
$135. That's fantastic. You can't afford not to.
Yeah. And the fourth award is for a category of works that don't fall in perfectly with 3D and painting and photography. And so I'd like to award a work that is drawing or mixed media, and that would be Tammy Beldu's work, Horizon 16. And it's a work that's made from watercolor, collage, and encaustics, and it's informed by the artist's experience actually with fresh eyes looking at the Konza.
Congratulations, Tammy, on first place.
And the next award goes to Julia Nocent Vigil.
I think we had one honorable mention, right? And other.
Oh yes, yep.
Ta-da.
Kim Tajan. And this is a pencil in charcoal drawing.
I want to mention Kim is one of our featured artists as well. So we will be doing a little Zoom event that will feature some drone footage that she has captured. And we'll do a little bit of a deeper artist talk with her. So that will be a very, very engaging conversation. Do keep an eye out for that.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm looking forward to coming and visit it and see the works that are able to make it onto the walls, if that's possible, if they haven't been snatched up yet. And this is definitely one I want to see up close. I love the scale and how my eye moves into that space and how we get a sense of light moving across those hills. Really beautiful work. I look forward to seeing it in person. I hope to. Thank you. And Julia Nocent Vigil, Glimmer, Tall Grass Impressions, Jumike series. This work, if you guys notice on that top hand corner, what do you see on the right? Well, I guess you guys have your mics off. If you see right there on the top right corner, it looks like that's almost like a fire alarm. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Right? Is that correct? You think so?
It appears to be. I think Julie is on.
This is a monumental work. If you didn't notice, it's about 4 feet by 15 feet in length. A stunning work where the paper becomes almost a tapestry of experience as the pulp is being felted together, and a lot of different processes that it probably wouldn't give me justice to start to try to fathom and try to describe. Really unique. Absolutely love the history of that paper as those tears become an important artifact in the work itself. So thank you so much. Yeah.
She had some really great ones last year as well, and to see them in person is to really see them, the way the light hits them, and you'll notice here the shadows that are below. I mean, she has incredible work. It's so unique. I've never seen anything like it.
Yeah.
Well done, Erin.
Thank you.
Very well done. Well, we are just a couple minutes over, but overall, I think we did pretty good. We stuck to our schedule, and that always feels good. So I just want to thank everybody again for joining us today. Again, all of the artworks are for sale unless they've already sold. All of the winning pieces, I believe, are for sale. So you can purchase those online at buttonwoodartspace.com, or you can also schedule a tour to come in person and see the artworks for yourself. I want to again thank Kelly, Jill, Lisa, Patty, Erin for joining us today. And I certainly want to thank our president here at Buttonwood, John McGraw, for making all of this possible, for allowing us to turn our financial office into an art space and benefit wonderful nonprofit organizations like Friends of Konza Prairie. So thank you, John. Thank you, Friends of Konza Prairie. This show is up until November 21st, so there is plenty of time. Please do keep an eye out for our featured artist discussions. There's plenty more in store. Thank you all. Have a wonderful weekend.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.